golfers know the importance of a beverage break on the golf course? Some even prefer wine. Nobody knows that better than Jan Stevenson. That's right, the darling of the LPGA Tour now has her own line of quality wines. We caught up with her to talk about them and also her globetrotting around the world of golf. Cheers.
Well, you know, we've all been really big wine connoisseurs on the tour because we do a lot of, corporate outings and we have wonderful wines, and then of course traveling, we're out every night. So a lot of the players have all really gotten into wine. And I was kind of new to it. The last 10 years is probably when I really started. We had a cellar club, so we were always traveling around trying all kinds of wines. And I thought I was going to start overseas because I am from Australia and I love New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and we were working on a winery down there. But it was so hard to get the wine here because Australian wine has kind of lost a little bit of its luster because there's so many cheap wines, and it's very expensive to bring it and import it because of our Australian dollar. So I knew a man that had a winery and a vineyard out in California, and he was a big golfer. He actually has owned the golf courses, and I knew that he was renovating a beautiful winery, so I asked him if I could have a piece of it, and we brought in an Australian winemaker who's from my hometown, and he's very, very famous. He's actually has been winemaker of the year many times in Australia. And his wife is a scientist, so they agreed to come over and renovate, and I think the wine is delicious. A lot of the golfers have their own wineries, or at least their own labels, but this one is very special because I really am involved. I mean, I go to pruning, I go to harvest, I've learnt the business. It's not like I just slap a label on. I'm there selecting the wines and the grapes and, panicking when we have too much water or not enough water. I'm really, really involved, just like I am with my career. I love every part of it, and I'm going to do it 100%. For people that really know wine and understand wine, you're going to see that I have 4 different varieties: the Cabernet, Chardonnay, the Merlot, and I have a Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon, which is really special. They all are really, really easy to drink. I made sure that they weren't too sharp and that they really would be complemented with food. Obviously Cabernet, everybody likes to have that with beef. The Chardonnay is actually really interesting because it's one that it does very well with food because it has a little unusual flavor. It's not heavy and buttery, so you can enhance the food with it. And then of course the Merlot is my secret because the area where my winery is in an area, Paso Robles, which is known for their Pinot Noir. So even though it's a Merlot grape, you would think it was a Pinot Noir because it's very light and it's really easy to drink. And of course my reserve, that's at the top of the mountain. Everything is done by hand. As soon as the French oak arrives from France, it gets the first French oak. It gets it first before anybody else. It's kind of special. It gets hand-picked. Everything is done by hand. It's hand-watered. We baby those grapes because they're very special and very expensive. And the wine for $80 a bottle seems expensive, but when you taste it, it's up there with the really, really big boys. My wine is in a lot of the country clubs. I do a lot of short game clinics and wine tastings, so we're getting in a lot of the country clubs around the country, and it's fun. It's fun for me to interact with my old fans and do a short game, which is nice, and we've done very well. But if you go to jswinery.com, you can order it online and see a lot about it. And then there's going to be a lot of the retailers. If you ask your local retailer, I've got most of my distributors are in place, and so if you ask your local retailer, then the distributors can get it in for them.
Like a number of other foreign-born players, Jan has been and still is a world traveler. We asked her what her favorite golf destinations are.
Well, there's no question there's some beautiful places around the world, and I like it warm and palm trees. So one of my 2 favorite places is Hawaii because it's so special. It's halfway to Australia, my home, and so I get to stop off there, and it's just a really special place. The golf courses are so beautiful, and if you go there in the spring, you get to see the baby whales and the mothers, and it's just gorgeous. And then I like Jamaica too. I like it warm, and you can stay right close to the golf course and play golf, and you get treated pretty well for very inexpensively.
As a world traveler, Jan shared some tips for traveling golfers.
I used to say bring all your own equipment because it's so important. But now, if you're worried about equipment, you can rent at some of these beautiful resorts some really good equipment and try some equipment because they have the top of the line and you don't have to haul your bags. Or if you're going to take your golf clubs, make sure that they're fairly empty, because you collect a lot of stuff and you can keep your dirty clothes in the travel bag cover. And the other thing I really found is that you can ship them a lot of times, especially domestically. Internationally it's a little difficult. But make sure when you go international, clean your golf clubs and your golf shoes, because they'll disinfect them and take too long through customs if you don't have them clean.